Hello everyone, I am finally back in my apartment in New York and I'm going to recap my insane day because it was a crazy one. I wake up this morning, I leave the hotel, and I decided to park at the airport in the Express North parking lots. I tried to book online to prepay the parking, but there weren't any more spots available, so I was really kind of concerned that there weren't going to be any spots when I got there. But there were. I just have to pay full price instead of the prepay discount price, but whatever. So I park my car, and they have the worst little shuttle system going on there. So you park, and then the shuttle goes down all the aisles to check if there are any people that are going to that specific terminal, because there's a terminal for every bus. And it's just so inefficient. And my original boarding pass had said that I was supposed to be flying out of Terminal C. So that's what I told the lady when I went into the parking lot. So she gave me a little card that said Terminal C on it. And she's like, okay, when that shuttle comes around, just get on it. And so I'm waiting, and as I'm waiting, my gate was changed to a gate in Terminal A. And so the Terminal C shuttle comes around, and so I tell them, I'm like, my card says C, but I'm going to A. And they were like, okay, so don't get on this one, just wait for the Terminal A one. So I was like, okay, that's fine. And Terminal D came around, Terminal E came around, but there was never any Terminal A bus or Terminal B bus. And the Terminal D bus came around again. And so I stopped that driver and asked them, I was like, well, I'm waiting. My card says Terminal C, but I'm going to Terminal A. And he's like, well, you have to get on the Terminal C bus. And I was like, but the Terminal C bus driver told me not to get on that bus. He's like, you have to, because it has to match what's on your card. And I was like, but I'm going to Terminal A. And he's like, it's okay, just get on that bus and then tell them that your terminal changed and they'll take you to Terminal A. So I was like, okay, fine. So the Terminal A bus comes around, or the Terminal C bus comes around again, and the driver wouldn't even stop for me. He was like, no, I'm not going to take you. And I was like, okay. So then the Terminal D bus came around, and I was like, he's not, he wouldn't let me get on the bus. And he was like, oh, well, you just have to wait for the Terminal A bus. And I was like, there is no Terminal A bus. Nothing has come around with Terminal A on it. And I was like, can't you just take me? There was no one on his bus. And he was like, no. This insanity went on for quite a while. And so I asked him, and I was just like, well, can you call someone and have them send Terminal A bus to come pick me up? And he's like, yeah, I'll call someone. So he gets on his radio or whatever and calls someone. And he's like, okay, the bus is coming, just wait. And waiting, more Terminal C, Terminal D, Terminal E buses show up, but no Terminal A or Terminal B. And there were a lot of other people waiting in the parking lot, and we were just like, where are these buses? And finally, I guess one guy flagged down a bus, and he convinced them to let him on. And he was going to Terminal B. And so that bus was just looping around and picking up everybody. And so they picked me up, and they were like, yeah, we'll take you to Terminal A. And this was after an hour of just standing around waiting in the parking lot. And because of this, I almost missed my flight. But anyways, I finally made it out of the parking lot into the airport. Go through security, that went really quickly, get to my gate, get on the plane, and then we get a slight 20-minute delay because there were thunderstorms in the area and we couldn't take off. So I was like, okay, 20 minutes, no big deal. And then we set off to Charlotte because that's where my connecting flight was at. And I was supposed to have 6 hours to a 6-hour layover, and my mom was gonna pick me up, and I was gonna go to her house and help her pack during that time and just like hang out with her. And so we're almost to Charlotte. This was like a 3-hour flight. We're almost to Charlotte. And apparently there were also thunderstorms in Charlotte as well. And because of that, Charlotte decided to not let any incoming flights land. So our plane was diverted to Atlanta. And we get to Atlanta at about 1:20 p.m. And like my mom was already waiting for me at the airport because I was supposed to get to Charlotte at 1. And so I sent her a quick text and I was like, hey, we've been diverted to Atlanta. Like, you should just go home. So she went home and I didn't know like what was happening because we had just landed. And so we pull up to the gate and we get an announcement from the pilot that flights are now being allowed into Charlotte again because the weather moved on. And so we were just gonna spend 20 minutes at the Atlanta airport. They were gonna add some fuel to our plane and then we would be off to Charlotte. And the flight from Atlanta to Charlotte is maybe 45 minutes. So I was like, okay, that's not too bad. Like, we're not that delayed. I'll still have quite a few hours in Charlotte with my mother. But that 20 minutes of refueling turned into 2 hours because there was something wrong with like the fuel gauge on one of the tanks, and they had to like manually measure how much was in each tank because the tanks had to be balanced. And apparently like the technician person was not experienced in doing that, so they had to call someone to come in and like measure the amount of gas in each tank. I don't know. Anyways, it took 2 hours, and that entire time they wouldn't let us off the plane. Like we didn't have snacks or anything, and I hadn't eaten. I just like got up in the morning and I went to the airport to get on the plane. So it's midday. I'm hungry, I'm thirsty. I've been sitting in an airplane seat for 5 hours. Yeah, I was just getting cranky and tired at that point. But then they fixed the fuel thing and we were setting off. We were in line to take off. And then again, there were more thunderstorms in Charlotte, and Charlotte said that they weren't letting any planes land again, and that it would be another 20 minutes. And I was like, okay, well, I'm just not going to text my mom to go to the airport until I know that we're like about to take off. So probably 10 minutes later, we just like took off without any announcement. So when I got to Charlotte, I did text my mom and she was able to make it to the airport pretty quickly. But by then it was about 5 p.m. and I only had until like 7 p.m. until I had to be back at the airport to catch my next flight. And so she picks me up and I wasn't able to like help her with any packing or do anything like that. Basically, she just took me to eat, and like I was able to drink some water. I got to see my dog for maybe 15 minutes, and then she took me back to the airport. And then once I was at the airport, my next flight was delayed about 20 or 30 minutes, again, because of the weather. But we finally boarded there, got on the plane, and flew here to New York. And get here to New York, and I was like, oh, I'll just take an Uber back to my apartment. There's 0 Ubers, 0 Lyfts. So I call a cab company that I've seen, around town. And they're like, oh no, we're not going to have any available drivers until 2 a.m. And this was like, I landed at about 11 p.m. And I was like, there are no cabs until 2 a.m. Like, that's 3 hours from now. And they're like, yeah, we don't have any available like drivers. So I was like, okay, great. And I tried 2 other cab companies. They didn't even answer the phone. And then finally I was able to like get a hold of one cab company, and they told me it would be 15 minutes, but it ended up being 30 minutes. Basically I was just waiting outside of the airport for an hour to try and get a ride home. There were no like public buses running because apparently they stop at 10 p.m. So there was just like no way for me to get back to my apartment. And I was not the only one. There were a lot of us stranded there at the airport, like people trying to get Ubers, trying to get cabs, and there's just nothing. There was another guy there who was like coming to the downtown area, which is like where my apartment is at, and we just ended up like sharing a cab because, like, why not? But I'm finally home. It has been a very long day. In the past couple of days I have gone across the country and come back. I left Thursday morning and I arrived back Saturday evening. So yeah, I've got a lot of travel under my belt in the past couple of days. Another thing that happened, so this morning when I was driving to the airport in Dallas, I got a call and they left a voicemail, but it was from U-Haul, and they had told me that I had booked a 15-foot truck, and in the voicemail they said that they don't have a 15-foot truck available for me from this like rental location, but that they were giving me a free upgrade to a 20-foot truck. And I'm not happy about that, so I'm gonna try and give them a call tomorrow to see if they have if there's any way they can get me a 15-foot truck or a 17-foot truck. But the 20-foot truck I think is just too big. It's gonna be like more difficult to drive. I feel like it's gonna cost more in gas, and gas is pretty high. Like the entire drive down to Texas, it was around $3, or honestly a little bit more. Like I usually paid about $3.15 a gallon. So it's just going to be like a big moving truck to be driving. And while I was a little bit worried about having enough space in the moving truck for all of my things and my mother's things, 20 feet is just like too big. Like there's going to be too much extra space in there. So I'll drive it if I absolutely have to. If there's no way they have like a smaller truck, like a 15-foot or 17-foot, but I'm not happy about that because I like made sure to reserve it as far in advance as I could because I wanted to avoid this exact issue. I was like, I want to make sure that they're gonna have like a truck there for me, and I'm not gonna show up and they're gonna be like, oh, we don't have anything, and then I'm just like left in the lurch. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like everything that could go wrong has gone wrong, and I definitely felt that way on the plane. I was just kind of thinking like, what is going on? Like everything's just out of whack, and like I'm trying to make this happen, and I have made the first phase of the journey, right? Like that phase 1 is complete. I took my car down to Texas. My mom and I were joking like somebody's gonna steal the car and then it's gonna be like, well, why did I even go through that effort? I hope that doesn't happen because like I would just be, at that point I would just give up on life. But yeah, so the car is down there, and the next thing I need to do over the next couple of days is pack up my apartment into the moving truck and get down to Charlotte. That is phase 2, getting all of the stuff out of my apartment, like returning the keys and driving down to North Carolina. I was like hollering at my mom though, because I'm like, Mom, you haven't packed anything. She still has stuff like up on the walls, like all the curtains are up and everything. And she's like, no, I've packed a lot. Like it was worse. But I'm like, you need to do more. So she's gonna work on that like tomorrow and Monday. And then when I get there Tuesday, well, I'll get there Monday evening, but I'm gonna sleep as soon as I get there. But when I get up on Tuesday, I can like, start helping to pack some of the stuff. But yeah, it's been a long day and I'm just gonna go to bed. So we'll check in with you guys tomorrow. Bye. One other thing that I forgot to mention. So my mom picked me up from the airport and we went to go eat at a restaurant. And I walk into the restaurant and I hear someone like yelling my name. And it just so happens to be my best friend from college. She was in that restaurant eating with her sister, and she saw me like walking up from outside and she was like, "Oh, that looks like Aurora." And she was like, "But there's no way that's her." But when I came in, like, she knew it was me, and so she started like screaming. And like it was just so crazy that like that would happen. You know, it just so happened that I was in Charlotte for a couple of hours. We were at the same restaurant. Like, what are the odds of that? Um, so we were chatting like briefly for a little bit, and I feel bad because I was really excited to see her, but at the same time, I was just like exhausted and like hungry and a little bit out of it. And I don't think that it came across, like my excitement came across. So I'm gonna get some sleep tonight, and then tomorrow I'm gonna like send her a text and just let her know like it was really, really good to see you and we will catch up. Yesterday just was not the time. um, you know, like I wish I had more time to like sit and chat with her, but um, I really was only there for 2 hours. And yeah, but like how crazy is that? How, like, it's, I feel like so much more than a coincidence to, you know, run into someone. And Charlotte's a big city, right? Like we were at the same restaurant and in the exact like window of time that I was there. So yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. That was definitely the highlight of my day, amid all the disaster. But yeah. Okay, so I just wanted to give you guys a quick shot, but everything's packed. I'll close that box up tomorrow. The kitchen is completely clean, so I won't have to touch that at all. There's just an envelope there with my like parking pass and key to give back to the leasing office. In the fridge, the only thing in there is my cooler. And in the freezer, I have my ice packs, which I will put in the truck tomorrow. That's the pillow and blanket I'm gonna use to sleep, and just my water bottle. But all of this is packed. This is ready to go. This stuff in the corner is stuff that's going in the front of the truck with me. So this is just a bag with my clothes for the week, some dry snacks. In there, there's like random things. Let me turn the light on. There's like water bottle, a phone holder for the truck, a couple of extra trash bags, my clothes for tomorrow. There's like rope to tie things off, the lock for the moving truck, my purse. And then those are the shoes I'm wearing tomorrow. And then I'm gonna go ahead and pack these into the front of the truck because I'm gonna be wearing my tennis shoes while I'm driving, but just, you know, if I want to give my feet a break or something, I can slip those on. And then my little dill plant. And here's the bathroom. I'm still working on cleaning it. These floors and the shower have been a pain, but I'm just gonna do the best that I can tomorrow. And I'm gonna finish cleaning that tomorrow and then mop all of the floors and I'll be done. So it's 2 a.m. and I really need to get some sleep because I'm gonna get up at 6 and go pick up the truck as soon as the U-Haul opens at 7. I don't know how I'm gonna get there because I doubt there's gonna be an Uber or a Lyft available, but it is the morning, so I guess I can try and like take a bus. But it's supposed to be like raining tomorrow morning, so like I can get on the bus really close to my apartment, but then the bus stop closest to the U-Haul is still like a half-mile walk away, and I don't have an umbrella or anything, so I don't know. I'll just kind of see what it's like in the morning. and maybe I'll like end up calling that cab company that brought me home from the airport, but we'll just like wait and see. I did call U-Haul earlier today and asked them if there was any way they could put me in the 15-foot truck that I had reserved or a 17-foot truck, and they told me they don't do 17-foot trucks anymore and they don't have a 15-foot truck for me. So they're gonna give me the 20-foot truck and just gonna have to deal with it. And right now I just went and threw out a bunch of trash, and I stopped at my mailbox to see if there was anything in there for the last time. And then I looked outside on the street to see if anyone had parked. So there's street parking that you can park overnight, but then like towards the end of the block, which is where like I parked my moving truck last time, there's like a loading zone. And I went to see if there was anyone parked there, and there is someone parked there. Yeah, I don't know how that's gonna work in the morning. It looks like there's just enough space for me to park in front of that car, but it's gonna be like right up on the corner. And I'm just hoping that that space is still gonna be there come, 7:30 a.m. when I'm driving up. And yeah, like that's a big concern too. I did get a confirmation from the movers though. They said that they'll be here at 9 a.m. Yeah, I'm really tired, but I'm also very, very anxious. And so I don't know like how well I'm gonna sleep or if I'm gonna be able to sleep, but I know that I need to get some sleep because tomorrow is gonna be a long day. Okay, I just wanted to give you guys a quick rundown. Everything's packed, even that box. Nothing going on in the kitchen. That's just my purse and stuff, but I'll be taking that at the very end. Everything in here is going. This cart, I put the TV and the things that I'm taking down to the moving truck, which I'll try and take down in a second. And the bathroom, I'm still cleaning, so I had to spray some more cleaner on the white splotches to see if I could get them to come up a little bit more. But I've done the best I can in here, so I'm just gonna give it one final mop when I mop the rest of the floors. And that's what stuff I have out here. I wipe down the appliances, the washer and dryer. The counter is gonna be the last thing I clean as well, just because this is where I have like all the supplies for mopping. I did give the toilet its final clean. If I need to use the restroom, we have restrooms, like guest restrooms downstairs. I'll just use those. And then same thing with the shower. Like I did the best that I could. It's not perfect by any means, especially like the doors. But like if they want to charge me for cleaning in here, they can. I did clean it. It's just like that shower has always been a headache to clean. And so has this floor to try and get those white splotches off. But I did what I could. So just a little update from my end. I couldn't fall asleep until maybe 3:30, and I did not sleep well. I kept waking up like every hour. I was having nightmares. I finally got up about 6:30, got ready. I lucked out because there was one Uber driver and he was able to make it here within like 5-10 minutes. So I just took an Uber to the U-Haul. I had checked in and stuff last night online, so it didn't take long for them to like process the paperwork. But I went out to the truck, and I'm really glad there was someone else there, and he had picked up like a 10-foot truck, and he was checking the back of it to make sure like, there was stuff like his dolly and stuff was in there, and it wasn't. And so I'm really glad I saw him, because I went and checked my truck and they didn't put the furniture pads in there. They didn't put the dolly in there. So I had to go and like ask for those, and they gave me the furniture pads and they gave me a dolly, but the dolly is like, it works, the wheels work and the like main part of the dolly works, but there's a bar on there that's broken. So I'm gonna have to email them, because I don't want them to think that I broke it. Like that's just what they gave me. And then the parking situation, So there's a like parking space in front of my building, but the way that the cars are parked there right now, there's like one every few feet. So there's large gaps in between the cars, but not large enough for this big moving truck. So I was able to park at the very, very edge of the street, like on the corner, like I had mentioned to you guys, but I wish that I were closer to the front doors of the building. But at the same time, I'm also just grateful that I was able to park and not have to turn around, like go and turn around on the one-way streets, because this truck is huge and I like hit the curb just driving over here. And yeah, so like it's parked in front of the building. The movers like are just gonna have to walk a little bit further because I'm not gonna move it. And the good thing is it is pointed in the direction that like I'm driving out of town. But yeah, I have a headache and a stomach ache just because I know like I didn't sleep well. But at this point, like my energy levels are not great. My mood is not great. I'm just trying to get out of here. I don't care if I leave and, 2 hours down the road, I have to stop at like a truck stop or a rest stop and take a nap for 2 hours. I just like want to get out of this town so badly. I'm just ready to get out of here. I cannot be here anymore. But the movers should be here within the next 20 minutes. And as soon as they're done loading up, I'll just do the quick mop and just leave. I'm supposed to schedule a walkthrough with the apartment leasing office. And as soon as like I'm done in here, I'm just gonna go downstairs and ask them if they can do the walkthrough right away. If they can't, they did tell me that I could just leave and they would do a walkthrough on their own, which honestly, I don't even care at this point. My deposit wasn't very much, it was maybe $200. So if they want to, and part of that is going to be used to pay the final like utility bill. So if they just want to like keep it, they can. Like, I'm just ready. I don't want to be here anymore. Okay, so the movers just got done. They got here a little bit early, so it only took them maybe an hour and 15 minutes, and instead of 2 guys, they sent 3. But they like loaded everything up. It is a mess downstairs with moving trucks and parking. So I'm so glad I went early this morning and I managed to get that corner parking spot, because now there's like all of these cars that are parked on the street. And a second moving truck showed up and they were like double parked and they couldn't load anything because they were out in the middle of the street. And then like 2 other people are moving out today and they went to go get moving trucks. One of them happens to be like one of my classmates, so he just asked me, he was like, I'm not moving out until later in the day. Like, when you pull your truck out of here, can you just let me know? And that way I can like pull into that spot. So like understanding how difficult it is to get parking out there right now, like I was like, yeah, I'll just like shoot you a text when I'm about to go and he can go pick up his truck. And when I see him pulling up, I'll like pull out and leave. And then like 2 of my other classmates, like, so the other big moving truck that showed up was one of my classmates. My neighbor, who is one of my classmates, is also, she was just driving right now to go pick up her moving truck, but she like wanted a 15-foot truck, so she had to drive to a town an hour away to get it. So she won't be back until later. But there's also like a 3rd person scheduled for today, and like this is just ridiculous. I feel like the apartment complex, when they were planning, they should have thought about this, of how people were going to move in, because that is the only street where you can park, and it's also open to the public. Because on the other side, it's like a very like busy main road. And instead of like doing like greenscaping and like this patio area, they should have just done like a parking inlet where you could pull in and not be on the street, but that's besides the point, whatever. So the apartment is empty. I'm just going to sweep and mop and give the bathroom one final clean. I did stop by the leasing office and they said, yeah, whenever you're ready, just come down and get us and we can do a quick walkthrough. So yeah, I'm feeling a lot better because, you know, things were loaded up, they're ready to go. All I have to do is drive out of town. The cleaning, it's not gonna be fun, but I'll finish it. All right, so an update. The movers got everything done really quickly. They were done in about an hour and 15 minutes. And there were just so many like moving trucks that were showing up that were like double parked on the street because there was no parking. The girl that I mentioned that she had gone to another town like an hour away to pick up a 15-foot truck, she like went and picked up her truck and came back, and she didn't have any parking. She had to park on the other side of the street, and this is a really busy street, so it's not like you can just move your stuff across the street. And there was some guy like circling, trying to find a spot in a truck. I didn't know who he was, but I had promised like my moving truck spot to one of my classmates because he was getting the same size moving truck. And so like I kind of felt bad for the other people, but at the same time, like he had asked me, he had seen me like earlier, and I said, yeah, sure, I'll just like give you a text when I'm leaving so you can go pick up your moving truck, and then when I see you come around the corner, like I'll pull out and you can pull into that space. Because he was also given a 20-foot truck, even though he ordered a 15-foot truck. And there were just so many moving trucks there, and it was only noon. So I can only imagine, I'm sure there were a couple more people moving out, you know, because my classmate had mentioned there were like 2 other people that were going to be moving out that day as well. And yeah, I'm glad that I went there early and got it taken care of and was able to leave. I left about noon. It was maybe 11:50 a.m. It is now 10 p.m. and I just stopped for gas. So this is my second tank of gas. But I stopped for gas and to use the bathroom, and I'm also gonna I need some lip balm. I need to wipe my face with the makeup wipe because it's full of oils and the oils are getting in my eyes. I wanted to sleep for a little bit. I'm still 150 miles away, but I don't know, I kind of just want to power through it. But at the same time, I know I'm tired. I've been up since 6:30, 6:45 a.m. and it's now 10 and I only had 3 hours of sleep last night. But it's I'm so close. One thing that happened, so the phone holder is working great. I think I may end up repositioning it though, but it's holding up just fine. But my phone battery, I expected it to last a lot longer than it did with the navigation, but after 2 hours it died completely. And I had my backup power bank, but I guess I had forgotten to charge it from when I used it on the airplane, and it only had 2 little bars on it, so it only charged my phone halfway. Normally I can get 1.5 charges out of this, and so I was really worried. And I just never thought that I needed, it just never crossed my mind that I needed a car adapter, because I have my iPhone cord and everything, but I just never thought about the AC adapter thing. And at the first place that I stopped to put gas, I looked in there and they were selling one of these for $26.99, and I'm I'm not paying that much. You can get one of these at the dollar store, or a decent quality one for $5 at Walmart. And so I didn't buy it. I was you know what, I should be able to get by with my power bank, and I'll get one once I get to Charlotte for the remainder of the trip. But like I said, my power bank didn't have any juice, so my phone was dying, and I decided to pull into a rest stop because I was my phone is gonna die. It was at 20% and I needed to like pull the directions so I would know where to go and like which interstates I needed to get on and stuff like that. And so I pulled into a rest stop, and some rest stops have like a place for semi trucks and trailers, and then the other areas for like cars and RVs. But this one, I don't know, I just didn't pay attention to the sign, but I guess the area was like cars only, and then if you had like a big truck or an RV or something, you had to go in the other area. And I like pulled into where the cars were at, and this was, I don't know, maybe 5 p.m. So there weren't a lot of people like there, and the spaces were actually pretty large. So like my moving truck wasn't sticking out or anything, and it was really easy for me to like back out and leave. But there was a guy there like mowing the lawn, and he was just giving me like really dirty looks, and like a guy that worked there. And then like another guy came up to me, and he asked if he could use my phone, because he said he and his girlfriend like had run out of gas and they needed to call someone. And I felt bad that I like, first of all, my phone didn't have any power, and that's what I told him. I was like, my phone doesn't have any, like I'm running out of battery and I really need it, because it's true. I was like writing down in my little notepad the directions like from Google Maps, like of where I needed to go. That's why I had stopped there. And I mean, he was really polite about it, and he was just like, oh, it's all right, like don't even worry about it. But I don't know, like I'm normally not afraid of like traveling alone. It's never really been an issue, but I am cautious. And I was just kind of thinking, like, I'm in a moving truck by myself, like, you know, anything could happen. And like, what if I let him use my phone if it was fully charged and he just like ran off with it? Then like, what was I gonna do? But at the same time, like I feel bad, because it seemed like he genuinely just needed to call someone. But I didn't have any power for my phone. And yeah, I don't know. I felt bad, but at the same time, like I just wanted to be like safe. And so I had meant to do a few other things, like wipe my face, get my lip balm, like resituate some stuff that's like here in the front. And I was planning on eating one of my burritos too. And I just like didn't do any of that, because I like just wanted to get out of there. So I kept driving, and I didn't want to stop until I needed gas again. So right now I think I'm gonna like eat a burrito, have some water, like reposition some of the stuff that I have here, and I'm probably just gonna continue on. You know, I've been kind of lucky in the places that I've stopped. I've been wanting to stop at truck stops, but it seems like I see truck stops everywhere when I'm not looking for one, but when I am looking for one, there's not a truck stop around. So, but these have been like gas stations that have been easy to like access from the highway, and they have room for me to like move the moving truck around, but they're smaller. And I went in there and I was like, you know what? I don't even care like what the price is. And they didn't have a price on it. It ended up being $15, but I just really needed one. So I have my phone plugged in and charging, and it should get me the rest of the way. But yeah, like this thing is hard to drive. I'm not like, I'm getting a little bit used to it, but at the same time, it is very difficult to drive. Like it's fine on the highway if you're just like going straight, and I try and stay in the like right lane so I don't like worry about passing people or anything like that. And when I do pass people, I make sure there's like absolutely no one anywhere near me. And I'm going like average speed, probably 60. I haven't been able to take it above 70. It just, I don't know, it's too hard to handle, I think, at above 70 miles an hour. So I just let people pass me. I kind of stay in the right lane behind the trailers, and it's been going okay, but it is a very large vehicle. And then like when I get off the highways and stuff, if it's like a curved right turn, it's no problem. Or if there's like a lot of room to do the right turn, but if it's like a tight right turn, that's really hard. So I've been trying to just like do lefts everywhere. Yeah, like the things that I do. And it's funny because every time, so the first time I drove a U-Haul was when I moved to New York from Delaware. And that's when I had the 15-foot truck, and it was scary to begin with, but I kind of got the hang of it and it wasn't too bad. And ever since then, I've always like paid attention to people driving U-Hauls. One, I give them plenty of space because I know what it's like to be in one and driving and how difficult it can be. So I like always give them like plenty of room and like make sure that like I don't cut them off or anything like that. Not that I do that normally, but just like being extra cautious because like I know it's hard for whoever's driving the moving truck. And but ever since then, I've always like looked to see who's driving the moving truck, and most of the time it's always men. I very, very rarely see women. I'll see women driving like the small 10-foot trucks, but nothing larger than that. And so now I'm like driving this 20-foot behemoth, and I don't know, maybe I should just like see if there's some sort of driving class you can take for like larger vehicles like this, or even towing. Like I feel like being able to tow something would be really convenient. Like I wouldn't have had to drive my car down to Texas separately. I could have just like towed it, although with a 20-foot truck I think that would just be too much anyways. But like towing, you know, trailers or something like that, or even like an RV or driving a big RV, like they're difficult vehicles to drive, and I feel like there should be classes that teach you how to do that. So maybe that's something I'll do, you know, way in the future, because it's really valuable. Like you don't recognize how valuable the skill is until you need it. So yeah, gas is really expensive. It was like $2.86 here, but at the last place I paid $3.15, and this is like a 40-gallon tank and it gets terrible gas mileage. So I think both times, like I try not to get to empty because I don't know, like I don't want to run out of gas. So when it gets down to 3/4 of a tank, I look for a gas station. So it's been like $80-$90 to fill up. And yeah, so I'm gonna try and like, I've been printing out the receipts because I want to calculate exactly how much I'm spending like on all of this. And I feel like the gas is gonna be like $700 or $800. But yeah, I just wanted to give you guys a quick update. That now that my phone is finally working, it hasn't been working the entire trip. And then do what I need to do and keep going. So I'm 150 miles, and kind of at the speed I'm going, it's probably going to take 3 hours. So I'll be there around 1 a.m. hopefully. But at the same time, like I'm not in a big rush. Like I don't need to be at my mom's by a certain time. But I don't know, it's just kind of weird, like sleeping in a parking lot. I always get anxious about stuff like that. Not so much that like I think anyone will bother me, it's just like, I don't know, I get embarrassed. Is that weird? Yeah. Hi everyone. So I arrived safely in Charlotte last night at 1 a.m. I surprised my mother because I didn't text her before I left. And then since my phone was like low on battery the whole trip, I just didn't like text her. So I surprised her at like 1 a.m, knocking on the door, woke her up, and the dog, they were like, what is going on? But I came in and went to sleep. I probably fell asleep by like 1:30 because I was just that tired. And in true fashion, my mother was like talking to me at 8 a.m. this morning, and I'm like, Mom, go away, just let me sleep. But she left for work about 8:40 because she's still working today and then part of tomorrow. And so she was just like talking, and she was like, maybe I should not go to work tomorrow. Like, I'll just come home today at noon and we can leave tomorrow. And I'm like, no, Mom, like, we can't leave any earlier because the apartment's not ready until Friday. But anyways, she left and I couldn't go back to sleep, but I had like a blaring headache because I knew I was still tired. So I got up, I ate something, and I was just watching some shows on my phone, and probably about 10 a.m. I ended up falling asleep, and it's noon now. I do feel more refreshed. There's still like a little bit of a headache, but it's not too bad. And I think I slept like really funny on my arm because it's like, it hurts. But I should be all right. I just went to the moving truck and got like the stuff, like my bag to take a shower, and then just some like other things like the ice packs and stuff out of the little cooler so I can put them back in the freezer, and cleaned out any like trash. I didn't have a ton of trash in there, but like just a few wrappers and napkins and things like that. Yeah, so my mom has packed a little bit more since I was here Saturday when I was here on my layover between Dallas and New York. And yesterday I heard something, like at the very beginning of the trip there was some really rough road. I heard something like move around in the back of the truck, and I like am scared to open it because I don't want to see something that like flew across the truck and broke. They did tie things down with the rope that I gave them, the movers did, but I don't know what I'm gonna like open up and find, because there was just so much room in there. Like they weren't able to stack things really tightly. They just kind of put as much stuff on the bottom like to keep it flat, and then they put the mattress on top. But there's still like a lot of floor space. So there's definitely going to be enough room for all of my mother's things. But we'll just have to like adjust it. And they didn't use any of the moving blankets. I had gotten a dozen moving blankets from U-Haul, which is good because there are some furniture pieces that my mom has, like smaller ones, that we can use the blankets on, because she doesn't have I don't see any blankets around that I can just use to wrap furniture, and I don't have any more plastic wrap, and I don't want to have to go get any either. But if we can just use the moving blankets, it should be fine. And then everything else she pretty much has in totes. We may have to go get a couple of boxes, because my mom likes to use like boxes that don't have lids, and I'm just like, that's not gonna fly, Mom. Like we need to make sure everything is packed into a box. And then I need to get the TV off of the moving truck, because that was in the front seat with me and it barely fit, and it was like in the way most of the trip. Like I couldn't move my right arm like out too much because I would hit the TV. And so I'm going to take that out, and then I can just put that into her SUV along with the two TVs that she has here. And the ones she has here are smaller. They're like 32 inches. But we can just put all the TVs in her SUV. She has some like breakable items that she doesn't want to put in the moving truck that we're going to put in there as well. And then we keep like one seat in the back open for the dog, even though he usually sits in the front with her, just to give him like some space. But I won't be able to like pack her car until she gets here. But I really, this morning, I'm going to take a shower, and then I have to set up the electricity, the renter's insurance, and send the apartment all the information that they requested, because I have to give them like 3 days notice before I arrive. And it's Tuesday and I'm arriving Friday, so like I have to get that stuff done today. I've been putting it off, but I can't do that any longer. So I'm going to do that first, and then I'll go open up the back of the moving truck and see what I can start like putting on there with the dolly. And then hopefully my sister will come tomorrow and we can just load up the rest of it and then leave Thursday morning. But yeah, my dog is just hanging around. He's got like a little bit, he's always had very sensitive skin, and he gets rashes really easily, especially like in the spring and summer with like grass and things like that. And that's what's going on with him now. So he's like itching and licking himself. And my mom had gotten him some like medicine. It's like hydrocortisone spray. And so I just sprayed that on him. So he's mad at me. He's in the room. because he doesn't like when I do anything to him. But yeah, I'm feeling a little more relieved. One good thing that happened too, I also woke up to an email for a job interview. I had applied probably a month and a half ago and just thought that they weren't interested, but they want me to do like an online interview within the next 3 days. So I'm going to email them back and see if we can't push that to like Monday of next week, because I'm smack dab in the middle of this move. We should be able to move it. And then that way, like while I'm driving, I can focus on like how I would answer interview questions, because that has not been on my mind at all. But it is very exciting. It's great news. And yeah, I think things are looking up, honestly. Last night as I was driving, I was like, I just want to get there. You guys knew that I like booked it out of New York because I did not want to be there anymore. And this, like, there's still work to do here, but we should be able to do it. And at this point, like, I'm not alone. My mother's here, and even if she, like, we argue and I scream at her and she screams at me and, we fight, but like, there's at least someone here that I could be like, okay, instead of me needing to take an Uber somewhere, like, just drive me to the store or drive me to pick something up. And yeah, that was definitely another difficult thing about New York too. Like, I had to drive my car down to Texas and then fly back, and then when I was there, take a like Uber or taxi back to my apartment, and then I had to take an Uber to get the moving truck, and like there wasn't anyone that could like help me park the moving truck, being like, okay, keep backing up, so it'll be better. And we have, like, in front of my mom's house, there's space for the moving truck, and still like space for her to park her car and everything. So it shouldn't be too bad to load up. But yeah, I just wanted to give another update early today because I didn't really do like a full one yesterday. It was just that little clip from the moving truck. And today I'm going to be very, very busy, so I don't know that I'll have a chance to film one later this evening.